Right now we only have 11. We'll be getting some more here very soon. You guys are already eating. I need to find my thing to keep the shavings out of the water. I'm not sure what I did with it. But we use a brooder plate here. And it's actually inside an overturned horse trough. So they have plenty of room in here. And this coop, it's got hardware cloth, it's predator proof, lots of ventilation, but also they can keep warm. They'll be in here for a few weeks before they go out on grass. Thought I'd come in and make a quick check on the meat birds. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, everybody's out and alive. We'll be getting more this week. We don't normally start out with so little, but we got to take what we can right now. They got lots of room to move around. I really like having them just a few days old and having this much room to run around. They're finding bugs in here and stuff. Got 30 more meat birds. Dipping their beaks in the water. You can see the size difference. These are only 1 week apart in age. Just came to check on everybody. These guys are about a week apart in age, and you can see the huge difference. The little guys aren't even a week old yet. They're probably about 5 days old. These guys are not quite 2 weeks old. So check their food. Their food's good. I'm gonna put some more water in that. Just check this. It's good, but I'll probably fill it up. I already checked under the heater to make sure no one is dead. 1 day after getting the babies, there was 1 dead, which is normal. So we have 40 in here. It doesn't seem like it, but there is. They were over here pecking on these tomato leaves. How's everybody doing? Let's check. Make sure nobody's dead. Nobody's dead in there. That's good. Nobody's dead over there. All right. We only had 1 loss, but I always check. Let's see. Fill up that. That water's okay. That feeder's okay. Put some more water in there. All right. Today is August 17th. I just came in to check on them. I pulled out these brooder plates, lifted this one up another couple of notches to make it taller, and put fresh chips under there. And I'm gonna fill their feeders and their waterer. I already took the bell waterer out. And as you can see, they like that back corner. They're all doing good. They're kind of all mixed in. You can see the batch we just got is already growing so much. And the batch that's a week older are getting huge. They're finding some bugs over there. They're gonna love being on grass here soon. You can see the big difference still. What 1 week age difference in these Cornish cross do. Amazing how fast they grow. Some of them are still hanging out under the brooder. Others are chilling over here. Got plenty of food and water and area to run around. Came to top off waters and feeders. Forgot to bring the camera. These guys are getting so big. I wasn't filming, but unfortunately last night we found one that was not doing well and we had to call it. It happens. These things, sometimes they grow so fast and then it's hard. They say to expect like a 10% loss. We've never had loss that high, so 39. Look how big they are. Guess what? Chicken butt. This is what growing your own food looks like for me today. Come on, guys. You want some food? All right, I'll get another one. Well, you guys are patient. We are 1 week and 2 weeks away from our processing. This guy will definitely be on next week. We're really happy with the sizes. We expect them to be a little bit smaller for letting them run all over the place, but they're still, that's a hen and she's still a really good size. This guy laying like that, he will definitely be next week. He can get up and move around, but it just shows he's really big for his legs. We only give them feed for part of the day, never at night. Whenever we come out for morning chores, we give them food. When we go and put them away at night, we take away the food. So this time of year, it doesn't end up being 12 full hours that they have feed. But we still have really good sizes. We average 7.5 pounds butchered weight and can get all the way up to 11. We have 2 feeders. We just got to bring the other one down here. The end of this week or so, some of these guys will be 8 weeks and some will be 7. I'm really happy with their sizes. A few leg issues, only one that we've had to call because of leg issues, but seems the quality of some of these Cornish cross have been a little less than desirable for a lot of people in the last 2 years. Hi everybody, welcome back to the second butchering day, our last of this season. I'm going to show you our setup. I did things a little bit differently than last week, and we'll just bring you along for the process. Hi everybody, welcome back to our butchering. This is our second and final butchering for the season. Have set up everything. We're going to get started in a few minutes, but I thought I would show you around. It's a little bit different than last week. We haven't connected the water to the plucker yet. We'll do that in just a minute. We got to turn the cold water on because currently hot water is flowing through there that we use to fill up the scalder. It heats up so fast. I love having hot water access outside. We have our 3 cones, 2 that are ones we made. There's a video on how to do that I'll stick above. Some buckets with water in it to catch the blood as they bleed out. The plucker that will catch the feathers. The feathers will go in the compost. This cooler, I will put the eviscerated birds in, and then we will wheel it up to our house where we have large coolers that will hold them all. I have a trash can. This is the gut bucket, my table. This saves my back so much. These PVC pipes we just had laying around that somebody gave us lifts that table up really well. I use the handle to hang the hose, sharpener, some knives, gloves, butchering apron that I made from a feed bag. We all have those. Those work out great. Some cleaner, paper towels, and then I use these for the innards and the feet. I have some Ziploc bags in there. I'll put some ice in there too. I keep the gizzards separate because I clean them all afterward. I don't take the time to cut them open and clean them in the middle of eviscerating. And then this is going to be for the feet. So that's our setup. And we got the birds right here. We'll just grab one, go to the cone, go to the plucker, or the scalder, excuse me, plucker, and then I'll eviscerate here. There's Amanda from the front acre. She's going to grab her a big one.
Chicken wrangling is an art.
Yes, she's the pro. She's doing it great.
These guys are easy because they're so slow.
Right? It's a lot easier to just grab them all and put them in the holding pen than walking up this hill every time.
Yeah, I'm sure. And there's a fence line that always helps. Catching them out free ranging, not so easy.
Right. So are these all the ones we're going to butcher today?
Right. No, this is where we're starting with.
Okay.
We'll assess where we're,
We have 2 different ages. Some are a week younger. We're just going to butcher all the ones that are really big or seem to be having any leg problems, or if their comb and wattles are looking a little purple, which is telltale of organ failure.
12.
Grabbing the first bird of the day. Not going to show you the kill, but just show you how these things work. Now the neck's out, and he'll cut. It'll bleed out. All right, I'm not going to show you the cut, but all 3 chickens are in here. All right, now they've all been bled out. We're going to scald them. Ideally, it should be about 145. This is slightly hotter, but you can add cold in to cool it down. There is a little bit of soap in there, as you can see, too.
So I like to do a twist swish, kind of like just pull it up, put it back in, and then to get the feet scalded, I'll dump it completely for about 5-10 seconds. Doesn't take much to scald the feet. Yeah. And then ideally you should have gloves.
Yeah, we need some heat resistant gloves.
But,
all right, there's some.
And then I'll just dunk it one more time. The big test, you take the wing and the feathers come out just nicely without any effort. It's done. It's ready to go. And then this, you just dunk it in there, spin it around.
This is just a small yard bird plucker that we've been able to use that belongs to a friend.
We're blessed to be able to use it.
Yeah. If you're going to buy one, get the biggest one that you can afford, especially if you want to do turkeys. I mean, you can't do turkeys in this one at all.
This one you just kind of have to manipulate the bird a little bit. Just watch your hand, because there is a plate that spins around with some of these rubber fingers. So you won't get like terribly hurt, but kind of try to flip it around a couple times. And then what I'll do is I'll pull it up and try to take a little bit of the ones that didn't get plucked off. It's probably these little, whatever you call them, little follicle things on.
And we cut the tails off, so if there's a few on there, we're not real worried about it.
I try to look under the wing, because that's usually where it may not necessarily get sometimes.
Yeah.
So I just trying to help out the butcher a little bit.
Which would be me.
See, the 5 or 10 seconds that it took to dunk the skin, the feet, the skin's already popped off. So
I'll peel the feet and cut the nails off and use it in broth or give it to the dogs.
That's the first step of the process.
All right, now I'm going to butcher this thing. I think my daughter will film it. And then
Sorry.
I have these here with lids and bags that I showed you for. It really helps with the yellow jackets, but it's pretty cold today. We waited a little later in the day to butcher because we had a freeze last night. It was 34 at the time we were planning to butcher this morning, so I'm just gonna cut these. Well, usually I eviscerate and then cut the legs off, but for whatever reason I'm doing it first. I'm not gonna take the time to do all of the peeling for each one because I'll get way too behind with Joe having that many birds. But you don't need to cut into bone. You can just kind of bend the leg and you see where it is between the two joints, and it just kind of pops, so you don't have to cut bone here. Okay, I said that, but then that I cut, what was hard to cut was actually this. But actually I got a little, usually go right here. You can see that white, I popped that. I didn't cut the bone, but usually I go on the other side of that cartilage right there. Okay, so I cut the head off. And then I'll turn this so you can see. Open this up here. And then I gotta pull out the windpipe esophagus. If you scoop right here is the neck, you can feel it. You can stick your finger in right next to it and you can kind of see how this is here. It gets looped on your finger. You can pull those loose. You got both of them right there. And then this is the crop. If you've removed your foods from birds, your birds from food for 12 to 24 hours minimum, then it should be empty. Ours have been off food for about 24 hours. So it's empty, maybe a little liquid. Just break that loose from there. And then you come around to the back and kind of put a little slice on each side of the vent. Grab the skin up right above the vent. Cut in there. Don't want to go too deep because you don't want to cut any of the intestines or anything. There's a hole, so you can either get your fingers in there and rip it open like that, or you can cut it. And you're just gonna, I have a bucket right on the other side of this table here. Pull them out and just kind of let gravity take them down. I am gonna save the organs and stuff, but not obviously the intestines. I'll save these livers, but I don't want the gallbladder, so I'll cut that off. Just stick those in there. I might have to have Hope film from another angle you can't really see from over there. Why don't you walk around too? So the gizzard is here. I just cut this off. I'll clean it later. You can see there's grass in there. I'll cut it open, remove all of that stuff, and then save it for broth or dogs or friends. Here's the heart. And if you pull here, there is the crop and the windpipe and stuff that we broke loose in the front. So you're just going to pull that all the way out. That is a pancreas. And then I'm just going to cut around the vent here to get that off. I thought I sharpened this knife, and then I just cut the whole tail off. If you usually can get right between one of those bones there. All right, so just let all that fall. That'll go in the compost. Okay, this was a hen, so there's no testicles to show you. I had to take a finger in here and sweep toward this side to pop the lung out of the rib cage. Do the same for the other side. And I found if I do that, stick my finger in and kind of just go like this, it pops out the whole thing just like that. So that is done. I'll put it in this cooler. Well, actually, I'm going to rinse it off. That's an important step. Hold on, excuse me. Once we have a couple of birds in that cooler, we'll take them to up to the house. All right, now keep moving.
Okay, so basically, this is a smaller yard bird. We're blessed to friends to have it, give it to us to use. The bigger birds, you kind of have to help it along. Sometimes what I like to do is I like to grab the bird by the legs and kind of just put it in there like that, and it'll swim around, and then I'll drop it in there. But if you want to come here just real quick, what will happen sometimes after a while of doing these, one right after another, is a lot of feathers will get stuck right here, because right underneath that is a hole where it drains out. So basically what you got to do, it has a fail-safe thing where it will stop if it gets too much, too hard, you know, if it takes too much to get it to spin, so it'll stop. I don't like that to happen, so I try to clean that out every once in a while. But that's pretty much it with this guy. It's great. Definitely beats hand plucking. Anyway.
I always get the ookies. Ah!
Did it poop on you? You have now been initiated into chicken journey.
Right up the arm.
You're not initiated until you get sprayed with poop.
Of course, yeah, it just happened to be recording right there. Maybe I will do science first. Point that down further. There.
I'm gonna have to drop them off the table in the process. All right, Amanda and I are going to race. Oh, I got it. Let me get my glove on.
Yeah, get your glove on. I don't want you crying foul.
Right. See what you did there. Foul.
I didn't even think of that.
All right, we're in position. So, ready? Let go.
I don't know why I always have a hard time finding them on this part.
Yeah, though they're kind of slippery.
I get mixed up with that connective tissue. They're all kind of the same color. Ooh, mine's wrapped around the back. So what is this? I got weird lumpies. Why do I have lumpies in my bird?
Oh, it's fat.
That's fat.
There's
Wow.
nothing to worry about.
Fat bird. Oh, she's eating fast.
Do you watch Star Wars?
I have watched Star Wars, not the new, like, 7+ I haven't. But the originals, yeah.
Oh, yes.
It's been a long time, though. Excuse me. Whoop, that one still had blood in it. Oops.
You see that? She
That
was
was a heart.
trying to trip me up to make it take longer. Oh, wow, I got that out without even the gallbladder.
Yeah, that's what I did last one. I was like, I couldn't even find the gallbladder. I got boy
Whoa.
parts.
There it is. Ah, that yellow jacket's back.
Uh-oh. So we left the lid off. Come on. Ooh, I got that one out in one fell swoop. See if we can do it again on the other side. Oh! Mine is testy free.
All right.
I need that cooler first.
Wow.
Your feet are on the table.
That's true. That is true. Where's the foot bag? Is that it?
All right, that was
My
good.
table's clean.
on day 2 of processing our meat birds. We butchered them yesterday, or the first batch of them anyway, and today we're going to be piecing them out. So I've got my kitchen all set up for how we like to do this, so I wanted to show you my setup, and then we will show you how we piece them out. Right now we have our meat birds in these 2 coolers on ice and water, and so we will take them out and put them in a bucket to weigh them. I will record their weights here because I do keep track. I keep track of how much we spend on feed and those kinds of things. And then I will weigh the individual pieces or how I pack them as well. On this scale, I use these vacuum seal bags. This is my vacuum sealer. After we weigh the chicken over there, we'll bring it here and we will piece it out. I have some knives and a sharpener. This is just for, you know, any bits that we aren't going to keep, maybe feed to the animals or something. We cut them up into all the various pieces, meaning boneless, skinless breasts, thighs, boneless, skinless thighs sometimes too, drums, tenderloin, and wings. And we put them in piles here so that then I can take them in serving sizes and vacuum seal them here. It works out really well for us. I'm thankful for this large island that allows us to just clear everything off and do this all at once. I would recommend using coolers, especially these big ones, though you cannot move those by yourself easily if they are full. But we used styrofoam coolers one time and they cracked and leaked and put chicken water all over the floor. Gross. The scale I am using is old. It was my great-grandfather's, but it's what I have. And I kind of enjoy using it knowing that it was his. For the individual pieces, I do use a typical kitchen scale, but it only goes up to like 5 pounds, so I can't do a whole bird. This bird is 7 pounds, 9 ounces. So not bad at all. I will take this out. I'll put it on this sheet. I usually weigh out a couple at a time and then start piecing them out. I have a 7.5 and 8.5 pound bird. I'm going to start piecing out. Joe's going to be in here in a minute to help me out, and we'll get through these pretty quickly. Let me just turn you down so you can kind of see how I do it. Cut one up yesterday, and it was, you know, the first time that I'd pieced one out in like a year, so it took me a little bit to get into it quite the same way. So I'm sure after I get a few birds under my belt here today, I'll go a lot faster. We have another 21 birds that we will be processing next week. I do save all the carcasses. I don't bother taking the neck off because I don't like cook something with that. So I leave it on the carcass and I do make broth with them. I will cut these wing tips off, and so those will also just go in the bag with the carcass as well as the feet to make broth. I cut this skin loose, and this will just kind of separate with the gravity, and you can score it and actually just kind of pop that socket. Meat away. You're not cutting through bone at all to do this. I am going to separate the thigh from the drum as well, but I'm just first going to get this bird cut. cracked that sternum, but I hadn't actually popped the socket. Is that what they call it on chicken, is still sternum? I don't know. Now, there is some pieces of meat that would be usable, but you can pick it off when you make broth or just let it be part of it. After I make broth, I do smash up all the bones and give it to all of our meat-eating animals. I pull the skin back so that I can get the tenderloin and the breast off. I do typically just leave the skin attached to the front and it just goes in with the broth. I'll probably do this again from another angle because I'm not quite sure that you're seeing it that great. Maybe I should have Joe hold it so you can see better. So we're going to follow this fat line that you can see right here. Just kind of run the knife through there. You can take the whole breast off, but I cut them. You can run it along the cartilage here. And if you want, you can just slowly run the knife there and kind of pull it away. Again, you're not cutting on the bone or anything. There's a joint there for the wing. Kind of go around that. Going right along that bone there, but not cutting the bone. We have that breast. I'll pull this tenderloin off because I like to package them up separately. I make like chicken strips with those, and then I'll cut out the hard stuff there. Now I know there's some people out there who can do this so incredibly fast, and it seems like the knife touches the chicken like a couple of times and it's all pieced out. Well, hopefully one day I'm there, but this is what we do. We're getting better every year. There's the wishbone. The other one. And then you have your carcass. Now I put these one per Ziploc bag. I'll put the feet inside here when we're done. And if I debone the legs or the thighs, because sometimes I do that and grind it, or I just want boneless, skinless thighs, then I will put those bones in there as well, and then make broth as I'm able. My doggy will love these little pieces that I cut off. Super beautiful, nice looking, pasture raised, non-junk food filled chicken breast. Grab the last one. Oops, sorry, I moved you. Ugh. All right, one more here. Now see this one, the bone's kind of sticking out from here. The wing got broken in the plucker, but the meat is still perfectly good, so I will just kind of fold that on there and leave it as is. Here's a bunch of feathers on this one. Lift that up and you'll be able to see there's just kind of like a ball, you know, the end of the lollipop, the size of the wing. If you kind of hold it up, it's easier to get right underneath that joint. That off. I'll just cut these in pieces, then I'll separate them. All right. Cut that skin away so I can pop that open. So we're just following that line. Here we pop the joint. Okay. That would be, you could do that as is, as a leg quarter. Now you can see the lines that I'm talking about here. You want to get right there on that line. And then it's clean. That's just like the cartilage. We didn't cut into bone. Same for the thigh. I am going to cut this off because, like I said, I like boneless, skinless thighs. I'm going to take the knife and just kind of go on this top part to kind of cut some of that meat away. And then just start sliding my knife under that bone, kind of rolling the bone. Sometimes this is a little cleaner than others. I've gotten them to where there's just barely any meat on the bones, and then I've had them probably what this one's going to look like, where I have a big chunk. Okay. Yeah, see, there's a chunk. I could take that off, especially if I was going to grind this chicken. I would, and I put it in the thing that I'm going to grind, but I'm not today. That will get used. It's in my pile of bones and whatnot. I take off that cartilage part. That goes in with broth too. You can cut off some of this fat if you'd like, or leave it. Wrap it up and it looks all pretty little thigh. Okay, those wings again. If this is the way you like to cook your wings, to eat them, then just go like this. I take off this tip and I'm going to separate this so I have the flap and the drum part of the wing. Again, some of this little teeny feather pieces, those off. All right, I'm going to go right here. That in your broth pile or whatever you're doing. This is the one that was broken. Okay, so we're going to follow. You can see where it kind of bends right here. I'm gonna follow that. And there you have your drum and your flat. Some of the best hot wings you will ever have. I did get a little piece of meat on there, so I'm going to cut that off to put it with my other things that will get used. I'm using the tip of my knife to cut away meat, and I'm just sliding it under. Kind of rolling it. Don't get your fingers though. See, that one is a lot more. There's still meat on it, but it's much more acceptable to me. Cut off that little cartilage piece there. And one more beautiful thigh, boneless, skinless thigh. So you can just grab this skin down here and kind of tear it. You want to get all that like fascia off of the skin. Just peel that all the way back. You can kind of, as you can see, I'm like kind of pulling the breast away as I'm running my knife there to just kind of help get more access. You could certainly then go to the other side and do the same thing if you wanted the breast to have like two breasts still connected but off of the bone, but I always separate them just because that's what fits my cooking needs best. And that's why I separate my I don't leave any of my chickens whole. We don't eat much of whole roasted chickens, but I use pieces for all kinds of things, and this helps me with the way my family eats and with meal planning. It's just, this obviously takes a lot of work and time, but I find that I utilize it more. There is much less waste because, you know, I don't have to cook an entire chicken and then figure out what to do with it if that's not what we want to do. There's dishes that I make that need the pieces. So if I thawed out an entire chicken and only needed those pieces, I'm not going to freeze it again. So this is definitely worth it for us. Okay, a little tenderloin. I'm going to cook some of these this week. I'm going to bread them and make chicken Alfredo. One of my husband's favorites. So he is very excited. I mentioned it earlier and he's, yes, please. Okay, you definitely want to have some good and sharp knives. I'm looking to replace some of mine. I bought these. They are the Victorinox, Victorinox. They came highly recommended by some other people. And honestly, I'm not, I mean, they work, but I'm not overly impressed. I don't find that they stay that sharp. I mean, obviously some of that has to do with the user and how you cut and things, but I don't know. I have not been that impressed. You know, I don't really want to spend a ton of money on knives, but you know, a sharp knife is definitely needed for this kind of thing. I mean, who doesn't like a sharp knife, right? Who wants to prepare dinner like you're using a butter knife or a Play-Doh knife or something? Okay. Cut some off. Let go. My hands are so pretty slippery, as you can imagine, covered with chicken stuff. All right, I cut out that little sinewy part there too. Put that in there. All right. And another beautiful large breast. I can really when I do the back like this, I can really stack quite a few in the roaster or the Instant Pot. All right, that's it for that. I'm going to clean up a little bit. I can show you how I vacuum seal them here in a minute after I clean this up. All right, I'm ready to vacuum seal what I just cut up. So I'll show you, I have it all on the tray here. I usually do, you know, like maybe 2 chickens at a time before I start vacuum sealing, and then we take them down to the freezer or into a cooler to wait for that. So I have these vacuum seal bags. I'll link them in the description. I really like them. And I'll just load up a meal-sized portion of the various cuts in these. For me, for most things, 2 breasts in a bag like that is good for a meal. Then I will take 4 of these thighs, 4 of the drums, as many wings as I can fit, and then the tenderloins. Excuse the traffic noise. Today's Monday. These guys will be butchered on Saturday. There's 2 feed buckets down there. Oh, look at them go. But I had some milk from my goat. She flicked something nasty into the milk pail, so I mixed it with their feed, and there were 7 of them here who got it and really enjoyed it. So I'm glad that milk didn't go to waste. And these guys are looking good. We finished up the last of our meat birds this past weekend, and I ran the numbers and I thought I would share them to you. I came back to our pasture because I thought it would be a little bit quieter, but the goats have followed me and Maybelle is screaming, so you might be hearing goats screaming. We assumed that we would have lower weights this year for a couple of reasons. One, because of how we let them roam a lot more instead of being confined to the tractor. So obviously they're moving around, they're more active, so we thought that we would have some lower weights. And also we butchered some birds before they were 8 weeks old, which we have never done before unless we thought something was wrong with them.
but we had Amanda from Front Acre here the first weekend to learn how to butcher, and so we wanted to do more than just a couple, and also we had some that we felt like were going to have some leg issues and we didn't want to wait. So we had bought 10 meat birds, and then the following week we bought 31 more, or 11 and 30, whichever way it worked out. And so we butchered 15 birds on our first weekend, and we had also butchered 2 before that. So the night before butchering, we had one that looked like it was going to have organ failure, so we harvested it. And earlier that week we had another one that we had harvested. We had 3 deaths. Obviously we don't consume those or do anything. One was the first night. It happens with chicks. One died at a week old, and then we had another one die just before, I think the week before harvest. So a 10% loss is considered normal. We had 3 die and 2 that we harvested early. So we had a total of 38 that we harvested for meat for ourselves, and we spent a little bit more on, I think it was 3 bags of feed than we normally do because of where we purchased it. It was $5 and something more per 50-pound bag where we went, but we needed it, and it was on my husband's way home from work versus going 30 minutes in the opposite direction from our home. So with gas prices, it kind of all worked out. So like I said, we purchased 41, we harvested 38, we had 3 deaths, and we harvested 2 early. Well, actually more, because we harvested 15 on our first butchering day. So there were obviously some who were only 7 weeks, and then they were 8 weeks or just over when we harvested the remaining 21. Our total dressed weight, now I'm going to tell you that when the scale I use to weigh them when they're dressed is my great-grandfather's scale. I love using it, but I do need to get a digital scale, so it could be off a little bit. I do weigh my individual pieces that I need to for like knowing the weights for cooking, but I didn't total all of that up for you. The total dressed weight for the 38 birds was 200 and, nope, that's the wrong one. Am I looking at the wrong one? Yes, 279 pounds, 15 ounces, or an average of 7 pounds, 6 ounces. So for me, that's still a great weight per bird. That's within our normal range. So we were really happy to see that there wasn't like a huge difference. You know, we didn't lose a lot of weight by having them free. We will definitely keep letting them have more area to roam. For so many reasons, we loved that. And obviously it didn't seriously affect our average weight, but even if it did, we would still be doing it. So I wanted to be open with you of what we spend as well. I haven't really seen people sharing the cost of these things. You know, obviously we're not doing this because to do it cheaper. Some people could be, and that's great, but it turns out it is cheaper. Obviously we're not including the price of our time and the labor to do it ourselves, but you know, I will show you the chicks. The 41 chicks that we purchased cost us $106.83. Then we spent around $21 on shavings. That could be a bit more because we do use shavings for other things, but I think we spent around $21 on shavings. And then we bought 13 bags of feed. I haven't looked to see exactly how much is in there, but it's, I mean, very minimal, like a feeder full or something. So 13 bags was 650 pounds, and that cost us $336.48. We use non-GMO feed, the Kalmbach meat birds, start to finish. That's what we have used for 4 years, I think now. So it's what we like. It's what's available here. It's only things like that are only becoming more available here recently, but we have been happy with it. There isn't an organic meat bird feed
available here locally, or a corn-free, soy-free. I'm not really needing a corn-free feed, so you know your price will be significantly higher if you need that. But so the price, for the shrink wrap or vacuum seal bags, I wanted to include that because, you know, there's little things like that that sometimes we forget in adding into our average price. And I'm able to get them for about 10 cents a piece. We piece out all of our chickens. So, you know, we put both breasts in a bag, but then all the other bags have pieces from multiple birds in them, you know, the wings, the tenderloins, the drums, the thighs. I did can 7 jars of drums this time, and I was able to fit 4 drumsticks per quart. I've never canned chicken before, and like the grocery store canned chicken totally makes me want to barf. So I'm not sure that we're gonna love it, but I wanted to give it a try. It was easy to do, and so that saved on bags too. But I mean, I didn't spend probably, I hear some wild birds. I didn't spend more than like $8 for the vacuum seal bags. Of course, I did not figure out how much propane we used for our scalder. We borrowed a plucker and we traded something for it, so we didn't have any cost there. So, you know, if you have to rent a plucker and your cost, those costs are going to obviously make your price per pound go up. But for me, I have the cost of the chicks, the shavings, the feed, and the vacuum seal bags, and we spent a total of $472.31, which averaged $12.43 per bird, or per pound it turned out to be $1.70 a pound, which is amazing. Again, you know, there's not labor and stuff included in that price per pound, but when I just looked on my local Kroger app, even on sale, one of the big chicken companies, whole birds on sale, was still $1.79 a pound. For the pieces, nothing was under $2.49 a pound. And that, you know, that's conventionally raised. It wasn't raised on grass. It wasn't raised walking around, and it wasn't raised on the highest quality food. It's, you know, genetically modified and all of that kind of thing, which I personally do not want. That's why we do this. So I'm really happy with this. But there's also other things that we got just other than just that meat. You know, I am being able to make at least 80 quarts of bone broth, you know, 20 gallons. And that is, this time I'm trying to get it all made at once instead of putting the carcasses in my freezer and doing it over time. And I am putting a lot more bones in my roaster or my Instapot than I typically do. So the yield isn't as high, but I can water it down. It's really rich and good. I peeled the feet and I'm using those in the broth. I'm also putting the organs in the broth for extra nutrition, but I also give the feet and organs to my dogs. And after I've made the bone broth, I take all that's left and I smash it up and I give it to all the meat eating animals on our homestead. So there's a lot more. It goes even farther than that. So the value is huge. I hope this helps you in some way, inspires you maybe to give this a try too, or to see the realities of this. You know, it's not easy to take the life of these birds, but we do our best to steward them well and value and use them to the fullest, which is more than I can say for going to the grocery store and buying my chicken there that I don't know how it was raised or fed, or what I do know, I don't want to know. So I hope you like these videos and being real and the realities of the cost and the work involved. You know, I mean, we spent several hours between 2 weekends processing these chickens and then cutting them up in pieces and all of that. But also my kids helped. My oldest daughter wanted to learn to eviscerate, and she did some all by herself, and she did a great job. My youngest daughter, you know, was helping put pieces into the vacuum sealer. They were both putting them in coolers and taking them up to the house or putting them in the freezers. And so and of course Joe was there too, and he was doing all kinds of things. So we did it as a family. And so when we eat that bird, we know that we all did this together. And that's part of
our journey home. We're doing these things together as a family. They're priceless experiences for my kids, for us, priceless life skills for all of us, and not moments that I would ever want to give up. I thank you guys for watching. If you could give us a thumbs up or subscribe if you haven't, it would really help me in reaching other people with these things and what we're doing here. We really appreciate you watching and sharing. Until next time, God bless.